other than expressing, a desire to eliminate voter ID.
Right.
We really have no idea where she stands on anything. Probably because she hasn't been told how she's supposed to stand on anything yet.
Well, we have this moratorium on communication except through the governor's office under Gina Raimondo. This is what's happening now. One of the things I noticed this certainly on the last couple of campaigns that I worked on was the voter rolls in this state are an absolute mess. And if you want to propagate voter ID as like a good way to solve the problem, I think actually that's putting the cart before the horse, because the first thing that should have been done is some effort to clean up the voter rolls in this state. Because I called houses where they said not he doesn't live here anymore, but he doesn't live anymore.
Well, I mean, one of your great lines in the show routinely is that we attack the symptom, not the disease.
Yeah, and that it's a reactionary thing. Voter ID is a reactionary response to the fact that our voter rolls are as screwed up as they are in the state.
Right.
Because the precautionary approach would be, okay, let's look at the rolls and how we can communicate between state agencies to eliminate these redundancies.
Right, and so much of the excessive state expenditures in this little burg are based on those rolls and based on what allegedly they represent. So the entire system is flawed.
Right, because it's become this kind of crony, pass it on to the next guy mentality where there's no accountability because it's built into the system that it's not a bug, it's a feature.
Right, and you've got Secretary of States who are obsessing over who's going to come up with the new coolest website as opposed to dealing with...
Or a cell phone app.
Right. Supposedly, the fundamentals of democracy are voting. Everything else stems from the ability to vote and the integrity of the vote itself. And yet they refuse to address that. But we'll have a new cool website soon.
Right.
So it's,
you'll have a new cool website to go complain about voter fraud on.
And nobody responding to the complaints.
Right, and at the same time, you have no oversight whatsoever or no enforcement of all the lobbyists, the whores that inhabit Halitosis Hall.
Super interesting concept. A lot of people talk about term limits for government officials. How about term limits for lobbyists?
If you can
How
get
about
them
you
to
can
register.
only lobby for one particular issue for 2 sessions, 3 sessions?
How about we just prohibit...
Because those are the people that are forming those long-term relationships in the State House. It's not the people... If you bump people out every 2 terms, a new guy has to come in and kind of figure out how everything works before he can actually get anything done. I mean, with the lobbyists that are there for 10, 12, 15 years, they know how it works. They know exactly who they need to talk to.
Right, and you now see in the state of Rhode Island, becoming a lobbyist is the ultimate career goal for a lot of our current Providence College history majors. I mean, that's where they see the end game is.
If somebody called me tomorrow to be a lobbyist on Smith Hill, I would take their job offer in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Dude,
I would take it in a heartbeat.
Listen,
call me a sellout, whatever you want to call me, I would take it in a heartbeat.
If you're listening to the Coalition for the first time, understand one thing. We are craven, degenerate sellouts, okay? We may not agree with your cause, but we'll be happy to advertise it for a slight fee. It's the only difference between us and the other whores is that we'll admit it.
Right. We are whores.
I mean, and it's please. I mean, I have no sensibilities left to offend, so you can't possibly offend me. I mean, what are you going to do? Call me fat? Oh my God, I'm hurt.
I've already been so broken down and degraded by the system that really nothing can affect me.
They've taken everything from me. I have nothing left to give.
Right.
Pride, dignity, future, a perspective.
I signed that away years ago.
You surrendered that at the door when you moved to this fucking hellhole. All right. What's frustrating to me is the failure of people to get pissed off.
Yeah.
All right? That's why before the Facebook police cracked down on me, my nom de plume was the PO taxpayer, which on any given day meant I was either pissed off, poor, or both. Right? So I look at something as innocuous as snow here in Providence. To me, the leading indicator of the Stockholm Syndrome that the citizens of the state of Rhode Island inhabit. Today on WPRO, the radio station of record on the Tara Granahan show. She threw off as an aside. She's a wonderful woman. I love her to death. And she threw off as an aside the whole notion that, I don't know, maybe do I have to go track him down and ask him myself? And I'm like, oh my God, no. You mean the media confront somebody?
Well, I kind of figured that the snow was a big, liberal plot to balloon budgets in cities and towns so that they would become...
it's a libertarian one.
Ensconced, we have to have X amount of dollars for snow removal.
And then you have to go buy salt
it just
from Federal
disappears
Hill.
if there's no snow.
Well, no, I'm actually pretty psyched because I'm watching the acceleration of the financial devastation of the city of Providence literally as we speak.
And for those of you who may just be tuning into the Coalition on our live broadcast, Pat is a nihilist. Don't let him fool you with any kind of libertarianism. He wants to see it all burn to the ground.
If you're a fan of Ayn Rand, I want to be on that plane flying over Providence as the lights start to blink out. And if you've ever read a certain book, you'll know exactly what that means.
Well, get your Cessna.
All right? Between that, I see a movie in the future of Rhode Island. Instead, it'll be called Escape from Providence. And a future president will be lost in the city of Providence. And what was it, Jake the Snake?
Do you guys remember this game? A few years back, they made a video game called Manslaughter or something like that. And it was about this crazy video where you're a prisoner in a federal maximum security prison. They let you out into this play area where you have to kill the guards. Everybody went up in arms. All the parents groups were up in arms about it. I feel like that's what we're moving to, is this I need to kill that guy with a plastic bag over his head to move on in life.
It's sort of like
we're getting to this kind of survival of the fittest.
We met Lord of the Flies meets Children of the Corn. With a distinctly Mediterranean influence. Okay, so children.
I love tapas, so I love the Mediterranean.
Children of the Olive. Is that is that how we can go with it? No, it's becoming a kill or be killed environment here in Rhode Island. Something that I applaud. As we start to see basic governmental functions break down. It's something. Again, getting back to your original point. No one gets pissed off. This government. How can I put it in human terms? If someone broke into...
Okay, how about this? Gina Raimondo as Tina Turner in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Okay. With Mattiello as the rogue... no, Mattiello's got to be Master Blaster, right? That's who he...
Well, then who's the Mel Gibson character?
We have no Mel Gibson.
No, we do.
Rhode Island has no Mel Gibson.
We do, and he's sitting right with us, Tony Jones. If someone broke into your house and stole your new TV, you'd probably get pretty pissed off, right?
Yes.
If in fact you and I could afford to buy it.
Even if somebody broke into my house and stole my old TV.
My 12-inch black and white.
So when the government of Rhode Island does that on a routine basis, why don't people get mad?
Can I chime in on this one, please,
Absolutely.
guys? I know I'm jumping.
Introduce yourself.
This is DJ Psycho Eddie. I'm normally on the My Night Out radio.
Which, by the way, our own DJ Psycho Eddie, a classmate of one, Gina Raimondo.
I did go to school with Gina Raimondo. That's another whole story I'm not going to get into. But I can answer you. Well, I'll get into it later. I have not had enough to drink right now. However, the reason why the state can dip into our pockets over and over and people don't fight back is because of the bureaucracy. I'm going to tell you a little story about what happened in my life because I can't follow politics because I really don't care that much. But I had to clean from one of the past snowstorms. My snowblower sucked in a piece of steel 12 inches long that came off of a snowplow. I know this because the bottom, the angle... And as soon as I
state of Rhode Island on it.
Oh, yeah. So as soon as I fixed my snowblower, I sucked the bolt in. So I broke more share pins and got everything squared away. Now, my snowblower's laid up for 2 hours, 3 hours. I get everything done. I'm irate. I call the Department of Public Works.
They have one of those in West Warwick?
Yes, we do. It's an old lady who just has a CB calling to any truck that'll help. But I call up, I say, your snowplow piece fell off, got stuck in my snowblower. Who do I complain to? You have to come in and fill out this form and this form.
Right.
I said, now who's going to pay for my repairs? Oh, we don't pay for that. You mean to tell me that what I just had, the 2 hours I just wasted fixing because one of your trucks broke, pieces are falling off of your trucks, breaking my new equipment, and you're not even going to compensate me for the 4, 6, 8 shear pins or some of my they won't they don't care. They don't even. I have not seen my street since the first snowfall.
You need to understand one fundamental truth. You are not a citizen of the state of Rhode Island. You are not a
No, I'm an asset.
No, you're not a citizen of whatever town you happen to live in.
The Matrix, man.
You are a revenue opportunity. You are a necessary inconvenience to justify
the only thing
existence
I am
of
missing.
A governmental bureaucracy, a governmental hierarchy. All right, that needs to feed off of some type of host organism. That's what you are.
The only thing I am missing is an asset tag and a number on my backside. Sorry, well, that's right.
man.
Internet radio on my ass,
Right.
telling them that I am property of the state of Rhode Island.
Right now, you don't know it, but there's a barcode there, and I think you should show the crowd.
I thought that was a tramp stamp.
Give me enough alcohol, and I will be more than happy to show everybody my ass.
Carbon-based revenue opportunity. That's what we're viewed as, basically.
Why is it I mean, if you go one town over, or you go to the next state over, they know what their streets look like in the middle of winter. And by the way,
Because they're not run by a bunch of dickbags. That's what it comes down
my
to.
former classmate Gina Raimondo.
By the way, you have
It's
to
what it
pronounce
comes down to is they're run by people who actually give a shit about community service, taking care of the communities they live in, and serving the people that they serve. Here, it's not about that. It's about how can you make it to the next step. Rhode Island is the goddamn lily pad stepping stone, and it's on the way up and on the way down. Because you see these people who rise to these great positions in other states, i.e. Vermont, New Jersey, Delaware, and then they come back here and they're like, oh yeah, well I was totally disgraced at my other post, but oh yeah, I'll come run your shit in Rhode Island.
But you see, that falls under something we were talking about before we went on the air, is just being proud of doing your job. You have a little bit of a work ethic, do your job, do it well, and don't worry about lining your pockets so much because, well, the state's going to take it anyways.
The public service, as we say in the coalition, is about people who want to help lives, not get one. All right, and that's the fundamental difference between here and most of the rest of the country. People here, again, remember always, you are just a necessary inconvenience. You are literally a speed bump. You are someone to be tolerated as long as you can perform your fundamental action in life, which is to provide economic sustenance to the ruling class.
Consume and pay taxes.
Right. There is a 1% in Rhode Island. It is not the wealthy, because they've all left. All right? All right. Anyone who can afford an estate planner has left the state. The 1% in this state are the assholes who are in power, and they aren't just the people who are elected to power. They are people who occupy that vaunted level of middle management where they are beyond reproach, beyond review, and they make anywhere from $80,000 to $120,000 a year, plus full benefits. And, of course, remember, as Ms. Raimondi reminds us from time to time, the pure existence of state government is to ensure their retirement security. And if that fucks your life up, well, sucks to be you.
And they're parked on the job.
And they're parked in the job. Exactly.
Well, I think the biggest disappointment to my former mayor after losing his latest bid, Leo Fontaine, was he would only had one more year to go for that pension.
P.O.,
Like if he had won that last election and just served half his term, he could have retired after half his
He
term.
could have been a contender.
P.O., did I just see a young lady smile at you?
Nah.
One of the nice
Who the-
things about podcasting is we can drink. So who needs one?
I have a runner.
Oh, well, la-di-da.
You see,
gotta
you
say
guys may have all that fancy politics under your belt. I have the proper staffing to take care of whatever we need.
Wow. Gansett Light. That's right, the famous Narragansett beer for Tony Jones tonight.
Well, again, if you have an opportunity, you need to come down tonight to the Fatt Squirrel. All right.